The purpose of music in any medium is to pull an emotional reaction out of you. In video games, it's the designer's job to put just the right song at just the right moment to really immerse you in the tone of the game. So when the game is full of bright colors and childlike whimsy... Did I really just write whimsy? So when the game is full of that, the music should also have plenty of... whimsy. So, Katamari. I remember when I first got one of these games. It was just about the time that I was discovering what the PS2 really had to offer. It just so happened to be around my birthday, and a friend of mine got me Katamari Damacy. It was nothing like any game I've ever played before. Sure, I had Mario and Yoshi and the like for my childlike innocence and whimsy. Again? Ugh. But up until Katamari, I had never seen something so crazy. What kept me really interested was the tight controls, the unique concept, and of course, the music. In true Katamari fashion, you never really know what to expect. So... Come on, everybody! Going into a series like Katamari, you really have no idea what it's going to throw at you, especially when it comes to the music. It's a good thing too, because my expectations for a game like this would have been way different than what I got. Katamari's soundtrack is all over the place. One level you'll have smooth jazz music.
I know you love me. I wanna word you up into my life.
And the next you'll have some J-pop. Or an orchestra, or children singing, punk, chiptunes. There's just so much to the soundtrack. Oh, but there's more too. I don't know if every game had this feature, but when you complete a level that had a certain song, you would unlock it. So you can select that song at any time when you replay a level. With such a huge variety of music, you would think the soundtracks would get a little cluttered, but they really don't. Pretty much every song on the soundtrack works remarkably well for the world of Katamari. I really can't tell you why either. Usually there's some kind of emotional significance between the actions of the player and what the player hears in response that makes the music more important part of the whole equation. But with Katamari, I don't have a clue why it works. It just works. Okay, maybe it's because all the songs are so simple. Most of the songs aren't particularly ambitious, and I wouldn't even come close to calling them epic. But they do their job, and they do it damn well. But the Katamari games are more about sitting back and having some simple, easy fun. So the soundtrack is very plain, but very fun. Okay, I can't really talk about these soundtracks without mentioning the theme song, Katamari on the Rocks. It's an incredibly unique theme song that suits the Katamari series very well. It's positive, it's entertaining, I can't really put words to it, but you know that feeling you get when you're trying to be really epic, but it's not nearly as good as you see it in your head. It sort of feels like you're playing pretend as a kid. Yeah, just like that. That's the feeling I get when I hear the theme song. That's why it matches up so well. Everything in this game brings you back to your childlike innocence, especially the music. That's what I get out of the theme song from the original game. But since I'm covering the entire franchise, there's something I need to address. This theme song is remixed and reused for every game. That's fine because it's the theme song, and that's sorta accepted for sequels. But most of the songs in the first game get remixed as well for a good chunk of the sequel songs. Not too much originality there. A soundtrack can really get away with just remixing some of its old songs to make up the new soundtrack, but when it's the same song remixed again, and again, and again, for each sequel, it gets really old. But in the case of Katamari on the Rocks, you get to hear it in swing, acapella, that's pretty cool. No matter how many times these songs get remixed, it's easy to identify these songs as Katamari songs. Well, most of them anyways. Sometimes when we are playing a video game, we can become overly analytical. We want to pick apart the game and find a root meaning or the metaphorical value of the game. Or maybe that's just me. Sometimes we forget that a video game is just that, a game. Games are for entertainment, so we're supposed to have fun. I want to say that that is the exact theory that the composers had in mind when they were working on the soundtracks for these games. If you sit and analyze it, it loses a lot of its meaning. So who cares? It's fun. Simple, innocent, fun. But if you do want to analyze them by their merit, these soundtracks actually won a few awards. GameStop and IGN gave Katamari Damacy Soundtrack of the Year in 2004. The song Katamari on the Swing won awards in Best Original Vocal/Pop Song in 2006 at the Game Audio Network Guild Award. Katamari's soundtrack even reached the number 100 spot on the Oricon Japanese radio charts. So Katamari's done some pretty impressive things with their soundtrack. Katamari even did something that was actually pretty rare in America back in the PS2 era. The soundtrack was released on its own merit through Columbia Records. So you could go down to your local record store and find it sitting on a shelf. But all in all, if you're a fan of pop, jazz, swing, acapella, orchestra, big band, electronic, well, just about any kind of music, there's something in here for you. If you put the soundtrack on play on a road trip with a few friends, I don't think anyone's really going to be opposed. Except for Bill, the Japanese hating grump. That's Bill. He's grumpy. Okay, I hate to bring this up, but there's a bit of an elephant in the room. While these soundtracks do a great job at creating mood and tone, sometimes the songs can be a bit too odd, even for Katamari. Okay, well, maybe not for Katamari, but they're still pretty weird. Katamari has done a great job over the years creating a name for themselves in gaming music. These soundtracks are iconic, they're silly, and they're just a lot of fun. These games have a bit of nostalgic meaning to me since I grew up with them, and they're still making games today. And, still buying them. One of my personal favorite gaming songs of all time is Everlasting Love, and that's included in these soundtracks, so I gotta love it. So Katamari was pretty well-rounded. It had a good soundtrack, you could listen to it almost anywhere, and it had a great variety of music that fit the game. So I'm going to give this game a score of 2,600 points. Alright, so that's what I've been listening to, and remember to keep gaming, kids.